Ever curious about what your favorite K-drama actors were doing before they got their breakthrough roles? Most of them spent years auditioning without much success. We're talking about countless rejections, closed doors, and a whole lot of waiting around. The difference is they kept showing up anyway. Here are 14 actors who faced more rejection than most of us can imagine, but stuck with it long enough to land the roles we now love them for. Cho Yi-Hyun. You know her as the fierce, no-nonsense teen from All of Us Are Dead, right? Well, she didn't just waltz into that role. She's been pretty open about how many auditions she bombed before anyone gave her a real shot. In interviews, she's talked about failing countless auditions. And yeah, that's her word, not mine. Countless. Like so many, she's stopped keeping track. But instead of spiraling or switching careers, she just kept showing up. She said she gave 100% to everything she was asked to do, even when it felt pointless. What really gets me about her story is how she turned rejection into this weird kind of fuel. Every time someone said no, she didn't let it crush her confidence. She just worked harder on her craft. I mean, think about it. She could have been a star who doubted herself forever, but instead, she kept hustling until All of Us Are Dead happened. And now, she's killing it on screen. Her whole vibe is proof that bombing hundreds of auditions doesn't mean you're not good enough. Sometimes it just means your moment hasn't arrived yet. Choo Young-Woo. Remember the tutoring teacher turned idol in 25-21? Yeah, that's him. And get this, he went on U Quiz on the Block and straight up admitted he tried out for basically every audition in Korea between 2021 and 2022. Every single one. We're talking around 100 auditions, and he failed all of them. He even listed some of the big titles he didn't get. Penthouse, The Great Heist, just miss after miss. Can you imagine waking up every day thinking, today's the one, and then going home empty-handed again? What he said about the experience really stuck with me, though. When casting directors doubted his acting, his response was, "I need to practice more." Not, "they're wrong," not, "this industry sucks," just, "I'll get better." That's some next-level resilience. He also mentioned he was literally running on fumes from audition stress, trying to nail that elusive next role. And now he's a breakout Netflix star. It's almost heartbreaking when you think about how close he came to never making it. But he did. And honestly, that's the whole point. 12. Nam Joo-Hyuk. His story is a little different because he didn't exactly fail 100 auditions. His struggle was more about starting from nothing. Before acting, he was a model. He actually won a top model contest back in 2013, beating out 50+ other contestants. And that's what opened the door to roles like Who Are You?, School 2015, and 25-21. But here's what people don't always talk about. He grew up struggling. Like poverty-level struggling. No family connections, no safety net. He's mentioned living on cup ramen at times just to get by. So yeah, maybe he didn't rack up audition rejections the same way others on this list did, but his path wasn't easy either. He's talked before about his personal mantra being never give up, even when life got impossibly tough. And honestly, that counts. He went from doing random music video cameos to leading major dramas and making half of us fall in love with him. His journey reminds me that rejection doesn't always come in the form of a casting director's no. Sometimes it's just life, throwing every possible obstacle in your way, and you have to claw your way through it anyway. Number 11, Hyeri. Okay, so her story is kind of the opposite of everyone else's, and she is included just to keep it real. On U Quiz, she casually mentioned that she tagged along to an audition one day and got picked on the spot. First try. Just like that, she was in Girls' Day, and later she became the breakout star of Reply 1988. I know, it's almost annoying how easy that sounds compared to everyone else's nightmare audition trails. But don't get it twisted. Once she got into acting, she dealt with plenty of criticism. Idols jumping into acting roles? Fans can be brutal about that, and she definitely caught some heat early on. People questioned whether she belonged there, whether she could actually act, all that noise. But she shrugged it off and just kept improving. She didn't let the skeptics win. So even though she didn't have the classic rejected 100 times origin story, she still had to prove herself in a different way. And honestly, keeping your sense of humor while people trash your work, that takes guts too. 10. Daniel Henney. He is one of those actors who's done both K-dramas and Hollywood projects, and you'd think that kind of range would make auditions easier, right? Wrong. He's been at this for 15 years, and in a recent interview, he said he's been to around 500 auditions. 500. That's roughly 20 to 30 auditions every single year since he debuted. I can't even imagine the mental exhaustion. He even told this story about getting an audition call while he was on vacation in Paris, rearranging his entire trip to do the audition from his hotel room, and then getting rejected because he was too old. Like, what? The thing about his experience is it highlights how tough it's been for Asian actors in Hollywood. Early on, he kept getting typecast in martial arts roles when he wanted so much more. But he didn't let that stop him. He kept showing up, kept putting himself on tape, kept auditioning for lead roles even after hundreds of rejections. And he still jokes about it, which honestly just shows how much resilience it takes to survive in this industry. If that's not a reason to never give up on your dreams, I genuinely don't know what is. Park So-dam. Park So-dam, aka Ki-jung from Parasite, has one of the wildest audition horror stories I've ever heard. Right after college, she was doing 17 auditions a month. 17! And she failed every single one of them, month after month. Her exact words, "I would take an average of 17 auditions a month, and I would fail at all 17 of them." That's basically auditioning almost every workday and hearing "next candidate" every time. How do you not lose your mind after that? She's admitted those slumps were brutal, and she genuinely questioned if acting was even her future. But here's the thing, all that practice made her better. She used every failure as a learning opportunity, and when Parasite finally came along, it changed her life overnight. But that success was built entirely on a foundation of back-to-back rejections. Next time you're stressed about a job interview or audition or whatever, just remember Park So-dam's 17-a-month nightmare and how she turned all those no's into the most Oscar-buzzed performance of 2019. Her story alone makes me want to keep trying, no matter how many times I fail. Go Min-si. Her story is honestly insane. The Sweet Home and Youth of May actress was reportedly rejected about 1,000 times before things finally clicked. 1,000! I don't even know how you keep track of that many rejections without just giving up entirely. Early on, she kept asking herself, why am I not getting chosen? How many more times do I have to fail? And honestly, who wouldn't feel that way? That's not just audition fatigue, that's full-on audition purgatory. But instead of quitting, Min-si did something smart. She started analyzing every failure. She'd figure out what went wrong and correct it for the next audition. And people noticed. Sweet Home director Lee Eung-buk praised her for bringing her own style to any dialogue. And veteran actress Kim Hae-soo literally told her, "It feels like your time has finally come." If that's not validation, I don't know what is. Her confidence now, that was earned through 1,000 not quites. Every rejection made her sharper, stronger, and savvier. And now we get to watch her absolutely slay roles like the final boss villain in The Frog. Worth the wait, honestly. Yoona, from Girls' Generation, faced a ton of pushback early on, which is wild considering she's now known as the nation's star. She did around 200 auditions before finally debuting. Commercials, movies, dramas, you name it. And out of those 200, she was rejected over 100 times, specifically for being bad at acting. Imagine hearing that over and over. She even joked about it in interviews. Some I got accepted to, and some I got rejected from. Just super casual, like it didn't sting. Her early roles in stuff like Love Rain and Cinderella Man caught some criticism, but she didn't let it stop her. After more than 100 rejections, she finally landed her first TV drama role in 2007. And here's what she said about the experience. "Perseverance paid off. When I passed some auditions, my acting skills expanded. That's the mentality that separates people who make it from people who don't. She kept going, kept improving, and now she's headlining blockbuster films and major dramas. Her journey is proof that even if you stumble over 100 times, persistence can still turn you into a superstar. Seo In-Guk. His path was a bit different from the others. He won the first season of Superstar K back in 2009, which basically launched him into fame overnight. So no endless audition nightmare here. He lucked out with the competition win. But just because he didn't face 100 audition rejections doesn't mean his road was easy. After that big win, he still had to prove himself as an actor, and he's been pretty open about feeling like an underdog in dramas until Reply 1997 came along. He also dealt with some serious personal struggles, like severe vocal nodules early in his career and the constant stress of wondering if he'd ever top his biggest hits. In interviews, he's talked about the anxiety of not knowing if a project would succeed, which is its own kind of rejection. It's like worrying that audiences might reject your work before it even airs. But he kept pushing through, turning his Superstar K fame into a stable acting career. His story shows that even competition winners have mountains to climb. Success doesn't just magically stick around. You have to work for it, even after you've already made it. 5. Ha Ji-won. She is a straight-up legend. Secret Garden, Empress Key, all the classics. But even she had to crawl through rejection hell before anyone noticed her. Back in 2012, she admitted on a talk show that before debuting, she auditioned for about 100 projects and didn't land a single one. Not one. She said she tried out for 100 or so projects while she was in college and came up empty every time. Just think about that. Even the queen of K-drama had to rack up nearly 100 rejections before anyone gave her a chance. She laughed it off during the interview, but you know it had to hurt back then. Still, she didn't give up. She kept showing up to audition 101, 102, and beyond until finally her first major roles started coming through. Now looking back, every role she takes has us hitting replay. Hearing her admit she started with around 100 blanks is honestly comforting in a weird way. It reminds us that persistence is the only thing that separates Almost Made It from Superstar. If she'd quit at Rejection 99, we'd never have gotten those iconic dramas. Thank God she didn't. IU. IU is Korea's little sister, but even she had to deal with serious audition rejection early on. Before she became the beloved star we know today, she was rejected over 20 times by various entertainment companies. One of the biggest letdowns? JYP Entertainment passed on her. Can you imagine? Teen IU auditioning relentlessly and hearing, "Sorry, next," over and over. That's 20+ rejections, enough to make most people quit and go to college or something. But IU didn't quit. After JYP turned her down, she signed with Loen, now Kakao M, and debuted at 15. And honestly, it worked out. She became a megastar, but she's kept that humility from her early struggles. The fact that she faced 20 failures before breaking through is kind of mind-blowing. That could have easily crushed her spirit, but instead, she chose to persevere, and that choice changed everything. Now, every time you're humming along to one of her songs or sobbing through one of her dramas, just remember, she heard no more than 20 times before she got her yes. And that yes changed K-pop and K-drama history. Kim Seon-Ho. He started his career as a theater actor back in 2009. He earned the nickname Theater Idol for his stage performances, which is honestly so fitting. But here's the thing, being a stage legend doesn't automatically translate to TV fame. He spent years doing ensemble parts, small roles, learning lines backstage, just grinding it out in live theater while waiting for his big TV break. And that break didn't come until startup in 2020, when he was already in his 30s. In between all those years, he kept auditioning and doubting himself. He's mentioned that his husky voice actually got him rejected repeatedly because casting directors didn't think it fit certain roles. Can you imagine? The voice we all love was working against him. His jump to TV was more of a slow burn. Welcome to Waikiki 2 was a minor role, then supporting parts, and suddenly, boom, he's everyone's heartthrob in Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha. So while he didn't bomb 100 auditions in a row, he definitely spent years dealing with almost got it moments and small disappointments that paved the way to his eventual fame. Patience paid off. Joong-Ki. He is already a K-drama megastar, Descendants of the Sun, Vincenzo, all the hits. But even he's been humbled recently. He's been auditioning for roles overseas in different countries, and guess what? He's failed every single one so far. His exact words on JTBC, "I've always failed auditions abroad so far." That's wild, right? This guy is a household name in Korea, but international casting directors are still saying no. Talk about a reality check. What I love about his attitude, though, is that he's not sulking about it. He joked, "I hope I make it this time," and talked about wanting to become a larger mountain by chasing new challenges. He's clearly not content with just being successful at home. He wants more. And honestly, that's the kind of ambition that keeps careers alive. His story is a reminder that even if you're already famous, rejection never fully stops. You just have to keep climbing, keep trying, and eventually you'll break through. Song Joong-Ki's lesson: flop on a few big auditions? Keep going. He will, and so should we. Byeon Woo-Seok, the star of Lovely Runner and IU's upcoming co-star in 21st Century Grand Prince's Wife. This guy's story is the ultimate underdog tale. He endured 9 years of struggle and over 100 audition rejections before finally landing his breakthrough role. In interviews, he said he took all auditions held in Korea from 2021 to 2022, about 100 auditions, and failed every single one. That's auditioning for basically everything, even roles you'd think were beneath you, and still getting rejected. Imagine the pressure. 9 years with no big hit, constant rejection, audition anxiety eating away at you, and then, finally, Lovely Runner happens. That role instantly made him a household name. Fans call it the Sunjae effect, where his portrayal and visuals turned a niche drama into a global phenomenon. And all of this came after hearing no 100 times. He admitted he developed serious audition anxiety from the constant rejections, but he never gave up on the grind. His patience paid off monumentally. Today, he's one of the trendiest actors in Korea, but it took him a decade of pain to get there. His story is the ultimate example of hold on just a little longer. One door finally opened, and it changed everything. If we missed your favorite underdog story, drop it in the comments. I genuinely love hearing from you guys. If you loved this video, you should definitely check out our previous one, the 12 worst roles famous K-drama actors ever took, the truth behind the drama. Thanks for watching, and remember, every no is just one step closer to your yes. Keep dreaming big.